All right. Well, thank you guys. I see a couple new faces, and I really appreciate y'all coming. I'm Victoria. I work at UT, and I'm just here to talk about one of my favorite things, which is stormwater and solutions for stormwater. This is a part of a broader program that is funded by the U.S. Forest Service for urban and community forestry in East Knoxville. So this part of this program has K through 12 educational aspects, community outreach aspects, and green infrastructure installation, which you'll hear more about in this PowerPoint and what that means. But the first step of it is just connecting with the community members here in East Knoxville, learning about what you guys want to see your community grow into and how we can help you attain those goals. Our main goal is to expand the urban tree canopy, help it be cooler and more green and a better place to work, recreate, and play. And so we're just here to share that goal with you guys and see how we can make it happen. So, part of that is our community outreach initiative, through which we put on these urban forestry workshops once a month to teach you more about urban forestry and all of the other things that urban forestry impacts. In this diagram, it kind of goes over some of those. Cools the air, regulates water flow, and improves water quality. Urban trees are filters for urban pollutants, keeps energy bills down, mitigates climate change, improves physical appearance and mental health, and increases biodiversity. So there's so many benefits to trees, and we just talk about a lot of those things here. You can see our schedule. We're rounding out this urban forestry workshop series next month in June with our tree ambassador meeting, and that one's going to be a really good time. We're going to have food even more than usual. We're going to have a cookout. We're going to invite our friends from other partnering organizations and nonprofits to come and spend some time with us. We're going to have games, so please come out and please bring a friend, bring 2 friends. Love to see you there.
Alright, I'm Keeska Johnson, the Community Engagement Director here. I'll be talking a little bit about what stormwater runoff is and why it's bad. So stormwater is any water that comes from the rain but is not absorbed into the ground immediately. So all that water that rushes down the street, that is what is considered stormwater runoff and what we'll be focusing on. It causes floods, increased erosion in the stream beds, and then increased amount of pollutants in our waterways. And this is really caused by the first flush. So the first flush is when there is a huge concentration or the most concentration of pollutants that actually go into our waterways. So like if you're looking in the pictures, you see the oil that's sitting on top of the water that comes from like our different roadways and whatnot from the stormwater. And now we'll play a short video discussing how stormwater goes in and is filtered into drinking water.
Water. All of us need water to survive. It's a precious resource, and there isn't nearly as much fresh, clean water as you might think. While water covers 71% of the Earth's surface, only 3% of that is fresh water. And of that 3%, 2/3 is locked up in the polar ice caps. That leaves just 1% of the planet's water readily available for us to use. We haven't run out because water changes states and goes through the water cycle over and over again, replenishing our fresh water. For example, a lake's surface water gets heated by the sun. It evaporates, turning from liquid into gas, then collects as water vapor in clouds, condensing to water. Then it precipitates as rain. This may infiltrate the soil or run off and continue the water cycle. The water we use today is the same water the Egyptians used thousands of years ago, which is the same water dinosaurs drank millions of years ago. However, while we have learned to detain fresh water and to clean wastewater after we use it, there is a problem. Our limited freshwater supplies are becoming more and more polluted and more difficult to clean. Our Our drinking water supplies are threatened by many harmful contaminants like nitrogen and phosphorus, which can create algae blooms that are dangerous for aquatic ecosystems, and bacteria like E. coli, which can cause serious illness. But where is this pollution coming from? A lot of people think water pollution mainly comes from big industries dumping chemicals and waste into the water. This is called point source pollution because the source can be tracked back to a specific point or event. But today that simply is not true. Government regulations and improved business practices have greatly reduced commercial businesses' impact on our water. Today, the greatest threat to water quality is called non-point source pollution. This means that the source of pollution is spread out and can't be tracked back to a specific incident or location. So, who is really the greatest threat to our precious water supply? It's people like you and me. And as our numbers grow, so does the impact of our small actions. Every time someone litters, washes their car in the driveway, spills a little gas or oil and doesn't clean it up, sweeps or blows grass clippings into the street, or doesn't pick up after their dog, they're polluting our waters. All of these actions, while seemingly small on their own, have a huge cumulative effect that can cause our waters to become polluted, and in some cases, even unable to sustain life. You may be thinking, how can sweeping or blowing grass clippings in the street, littering, using a little too much fertilizer, or not picking up after my dog cause water pollution? When it rains, those grass clippings can wash into storm drains and end up in your local lake or stream, where they feed harmful bacteria, and as the clippings rot, they use up the oxygen that fish need to live, causing fish kills. As for littering, litter doesn't just look ugly, it can harbor bacteria and reduce oxygen levels too. Pesticides and fertilizers that migrate into our nearby water bodies can also kill or damage a wide variety of organisms. Dog waste can harbor bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli. If we don't pick it up, it can pose a disease risk to children, adults, and other pets. And it's not just your dog. There are approximately 1.5 million dogs in North Central Texas, producing over 1 million pounds of waste each day. It's not just one main source of water pollution, but lots of little sources or actions contributing to the problem. But still, you might think, doesn't all the water get treated? Well, the wastewater from your home that goes down the sink, shower, and toilet, that goes to a wastewater treatment facility to be cleaned before it's released into our surface waters like creeks, rivers, and lakes. But storm drains are a completely different system. When it rains, stormwater runoff, or rainwater moving across the ground, picks up pollutants like litter, oil, or dog waste and carries them right down the storm drain. Storm drains carry water from our streets and parking lots directly to the nearest creek or lake without any treatment or filtration. That creek or river feeds our reservoirs, and that's where your drinking water comes from. So that cigarette butt, that fast food wrapper, that water bottle, your dog's mess, they go right into our water supply. Think about that the next time you turn on the tap. Your water provider needs to work extra hard to remove those pollutants from a contaminated water source. And what about the rivers and lakes that we swim, fish, and sail in, that wildlife live and feed in? Those still suffer from the effects of water pollution. But there's good news. With a few simple actions, you can help make a big difference. Here's what you can do. Don't litter. Put your trash in the trash can or recycle it. And pick up after your dog, even in your own yard. Dog waste isn't fertilizer. It can actually damage your grass and contains harmful bacteria. You can put it in the trash, bury it, or flush it. And if you're going to wash a car, use a commercial car wash that recycles its water. Or wash the car in the grass so the soap, dirt, and grease don't go down the storm drain. Your lawn will naturally filter the water, and you're watering the grass at the same time. Speaking of grass, when you're mowing the lawn, sweep or blow the grass clippings back into the grass and limit the use of fertilizer and pesticides. Remember, it's up to all of us to do our part to make the world a better place. After all, it all comes back to you in the end.
Okay, yeah, so just as the video stated, stormwater is considered a pollutant itself because it's a non-point source pollutant, which means that it doesn't come from just one place. There's a bunch of different contributors to it. Stormwater often contains things like pathogens, nitrates, and phosphorus, litter, including microplastics, sediment, and especially oil and gasoline from cars as well. And for these reasons, stormwater is considered a pollutant. And then, so here's just a diagram. The one on the left is showing you how the precipitation from the storm or whatever is able to infiltrate into the soil about 50%. And on the right, it's showing that only about 15% of precipitation is able to infiltrate into the ground because of the impervious surfaces that urban space has. Urban spaces, because they have so much concrete and surfaces where water cannot pass through, that water is just going to run along the surface and collect everything and bring it down into just the waterways. And watersheds that contain urban areas tend to be more polluted because of spilled materials like we mentioned earlier, and because water runs downhill, it carries these pollutants with it to the main waterways like rivers and lakes. I'm sure you guys would rather probably swim in a creek closer to the Smokies than out in the Tennessee River. Okay. And there's one more video.
The rain we get from the storm and the water that you drink is interconnected. Here's how. Imagine you're a raindrop falling on Bowling Green. You're about to go through quite a journey. You'll most likely drain into one of the city's many injection wells, which sends stormwater into Bowling Green's cave network. You'll then travel through miles of underground streams. City environmental staff monitor these streams and catch pollutants to make sure the caves under Bowling Green are happy and healthy. After you emerge into the sunlight, your next stop is the Bear River, the source of Bowling Green's drinking water. Local utility companies take you and other raindrops up from the river to purify for drinking, which completes your journey. So remember, keep drains clean from harmful runoff, because stormwater is your water.
So this was based in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and that's how they deal with their stormwater, because they basically have a cave system underground. So they just basically, instead of having what we have here in Knoxville, a drain that pipes it out to the river or to the nearest creek, they just get it straight down into the caves. But like they said, everywhere, you know, in order to have drinkable water, it has to be filtered and go through this really intense treatment that takes a lot of energy. That's probably why you have to pay like a water bill, is because of all that energy. Otherwise, you'd be drinking water like that goes down the storm drain, and that is really gross stuff. I've collected stormwater samples, and they're just, you can't see through them. They're just so dirty.
And so some of the solutions that we're looking for, first you're going to want to slow the water down, which we'll talk about, spread it out so that it's not concentrated in one area, and soak it in so that the water can be filtered. And how can trees help with stormwater? First, I think in the next slide there's a visualization of this, but they intercept rainfall, which slows the rate at which the stormwater travels and leads to less erosion that ends up in the waterways. It also encourages filtration through their root system, and the root systems filter out pollutants that run through it, and it promotes groundwater recharge as well. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, like on the left and the right, it's like pouring. However, when the precipitation hits the tree, it kind of like drifts down instead of having so much pressure, which can increase erosion along the way. And also, like trees, it requires them to have like more exposed soil and like ground cover, so the water is able to like percolate down into the roots where it's then filtered out.
Hi everyone, my name is Lori. I'm the specialist. I want to talk to you about green infrastructure. So, what is infrastructure? So, infra means below in Latin, and it literally is the below structure. So, essentially, physical structures that society needs to function. So, everything that we use, roads, bridges, power poles, drainage systems. So, what we want to see is what is green infrastructure, and this infrastructure makes the use of plants or other elements of nature to fulfill the purpose of traditional infrastructure. And oftentimes this is better for the environment and more cost effective. So that's something that we all try to strive for than traditional infrastructure. And really the essence of it is why build a drainage system when you can just simply plant a tree. Think about it. Okay. So we have gray versus green solutions. So gray solutions is really not what we want to see, but it only moves the water to a different place, and it doesn't clean or remove it. And it clearly does not look nice with that, with the hotness. It requires a centralized planner, and what we really wanna see is a green solution which transfers the water from stormwater runoff into the air, which is evapotranspiration, or into the ground, which is infiltration, and cleans it, and the final product looks really nice, pristine, demure, all that good stuff. And anyone can plant a tree on the property, and it'll help. So here are some examples of green infrastructure. Right here you have grass swale, which is essentially a grassy slope ditch that absorbs and cleans water as it flows through. Really nice, really pretty, you know, makes the world go round. And then you have green roofs, which have plants on it that help with stormwater and energy use. So they don't have to worry about on the roof and the water, and they can just use the rainwater and have the earth good to go. So here are some examples of green infrastructure. Over here we have green parking, so plants and parking lots that help to provide shade, keep people from cars cool, as well as manage stormwater. So, you know, when you go to Harvest Park, you go to a shopping center, you have no trees and stuff like that, you know, it's a real good parking, tree, shade, all that good stuff. And urban trees, which are planted in urban environments to help with heat, stormwater, energy use, aesthetics, wildlife, and habitation, everything pretty much we talked about in past workshops.
Thank you, Corey. So, as I mentioned earlier in the PowerPoint, one of the things that this project is involved with is installing more green infrastructure in East Knoxville. Specifically, we really want to do more of those parking lot trees in the form of what's called a gravel tree stormwater system. These are basically pits. So there's the ground, you dig a hole in the ground, you put gravel in the hole, and in the middle, we have this box built, and in that box, there's the media that the tree can grow in. We plant the tree in the middle. You might have received one of these flyers at some point from Seed, talking a little bit more about those. It has my email on it if you have any questions, and it also has a survey we'd love you to take. But basically, these are gonna help with flood control in parking lots that typically see a lot of stormwater. It helps provide more shade. It's great because these trees, because they are getting watered by the stormwater when it rains, they're drought resistant. So they have a better chance at making it through droughts. And if you have one of these close to a building, the shade from the tree can actually help save energy costs for cooling your building in the summertime. So, take the next one. So here's we have one built in East Knoxville already at the Davidson Community Center, and that's what it looks like. It was planted in 2016, so you can see here when it was pretty fresh, and then you can see how it has grown over the last, going on 10 years now. It's a little bit bigger than it is in that last picture at this point, but you can go see it if you want to. And we actually put in kind of some monitoring equipment, so we had a rain gauge there to measure how much it rained, and we measured how much water came out of this parking lot and into it, and to see how well the tree was growing with how much water it had. So we did everything we could to test it to make sure that this is a good system and that the trees will be healthy, and that it actually does help to decrease the amount of stormwater that ends up going straight into the river system. So here's some construction images, so you can kind of see how it is. This is like a bigger one, so this would be one with 3 different trees in it. And you can just kind of see a little bit more of what's going on below the surface. We will be installing, 41 of these over the next 4 years. We have a bunch planned already. And if you or someone you know is a contractor who would be interested in working on a project like this and getting this kind of green infrastructure experience and getting paid to install one of these, let me know. Tell your friend or your family member, whoever you're thinking of, or if it's you, just let me know, because we're gonna have a lot of work coming through that we would love to, share the love within the community on that. Here's a picture of that last one finished. You can see how there's like several trees there, and all the water kind of comes through here and has the chance to soak into the gravel, and then once it's in the gravel pit, then the trees can access it. And then this is a slide just telling you what we have planned so far. We have Knox County schools on board, so we have those 5 schools so far that we're in contact with about installing a gravel tree stormwater system on their campus. And then we're gonna be able to work with their kids, their students, and get the kids out learning more about green career paths, urban forestry, etc. We also have 4 planned at Holston River Park and 2 over off of Harriet Tubman, which is really close by at the Knoxville Family Justice Center.
Good evening. I'm Devin Williams. I am a community engagement boot camper, and today I'll be talking about ways that you can take care of your rainwater and watershed. Now, taking care of your rainwater, disconnecting downspouts from sewer systems, reducing lawn fertilizer, and picking up pet waste, and taking care of your watershed, stream cleanup, keep your car in good condition, avoid prolonged oil leaks, and advocacy. Tennessee Smart Yards is a program that we have. Basically talks about extension. Basically, it is an extension lead program that guides Tennesseans on practices they can apply in their outdoor spaces to create healthier, more ecologically sound landscapes and communities. It's supposed to, okay, and this is a video that explains further about Tennessee Smart Yards.
Tennessee is awash with beautiful and unique landscapes, and we are lucky to live within them. Hi, I'm Andrea Ledwig, Director of Tennessee Smart Yards for the University of Tennessee Extension. We want to help you pick out the best science-based practices that will help you achieve sustainable, healthy, functional landscapes that will reap benefits not only for you, but also our communities and our environment. We rely on our ecosystem to be resilient and support our needs in everything from absorbing those torrential Tennessee rainfalls, to pollinating our crops and providing food, to providing that sanctuary for relaxation, beauty, and curiosity. Our team of experts has collected a suite of resources to help you evaluate your landscape, look at it with a fresh set of eyes, and pick out practices that help promote healthy landscapes and protect our natural and water resources, all while reaping benefits for you in your very own yard. So you might be asking yourself, what is a Tennessee Smart Yard? Simply put, it is one that is in balance with the local environment for the benefit of both people and our ecosystem. So the Tennessee Smart Yard exhibits actions that are all around 9 foundational principles, and we hope that you enjoy these modules all about the 9 foundational principles and enjoy your journey towards a certified Tennessee Smart Yard.
The modules that she's talking about are on the Tennessee Smart Yards website. So if you want to learn more about, what you can do in your own yard, that would be a great place to start. I think thank you. Thank you.
And I'm Kendra McKenzie. I'm a community engagement specialist, and I'm here to talk to you guys about more resources in your community. We have a adopt stream program. You can take advantage of this program. It's the mission to adopt a stream program to educate and inspire local residents, to care for their waterways and their community. What they do is they do stream cleanups, they monitor litter prevention, and they also have stream health assessments. And this is their contact information if you need to reach out. We have also some more resources expanding the urban tree canopy. This is some more resources that you can take advantage of. Volunteer forestry, fall spring sessions. You can also get 3 hours every Wednesday for 4 weeks. Registration is April 2025. And these are the courses that you will be taking. You can take tree planting, tree response to environmental factors, and everything tree pruning. And you can also attend events for tree walks, community planning, and tree giveaways. And this is another program, Keep Knoxville Clean, community beautification. Upon your request, you can request them in your neighborhood or in your community. They do schoolscapes, use volunteers to transform public schools, campuses, They also do litter prevention, help clean over 116,000 pounds of litter. They will provide supplies for you if you need that, in your neighborhood. And this is, pass this on.
Alright, so thank you guys so much. I hope you learned something about stormwater and the process of your drinking water and why it's important to care for our stormwater and ways you can help. So thank you so much for coming. Again, please come out to our next one next month. I think it is gonna be a lot of fun. And we're trying to get some feedback of how to keep this going, keep things lively. We've had some feedback where people wanted to learn more about fruiting trees and how to care for those. So I think we're gonna have a workshop for that coming up in the next series of workshops. But we really wanna keep y'all involved, especially those we've seen multiple times, and you know, help come up with some ways we can get involved in the community and start doing some of these things so we can see, you know, a greener Knoxville. Thank you guys again. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Will you replay the first video? While we start to get stuff
Excuse me, I have a question.
Of course.
Oh, do y'all have copies of that where you wanna help, like, clean the community? 'Cause I wanna do that.
Is it the beautification one?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep
Okay.
Knoxville beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit and a club that you can join, and I am inviting them to come next month, so
Okay,
we can
so
introduce you.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely, if you go to their website, they have sort of volunteer days that they schedule, and so you can show up, yeah. Thank you.
Please invite your children, your teenagers to the events. See, we'll sign off on them community service hours.
That's right.
When you come and when you go to the different events, when you come to the days, like the volunteer days and stuff, we will sign the paper for a couple of hours of community service. All teenagers in Knox County doing the Tennessee Promise, they need them 20 hours. So this will be an easy way to get them. And then if you got a college student, this is an easy way to get that core before their graduation. So boom.
Thank you.
Thank you. And stick around for the kids.
Bring your kids.
Bring your children.
Even if they just want to come and volunteer and get their hours, bring them.